Today we're on the developer build to show you guys one of the best decks to use for the New Year Fireworks Show Challenge. It's an explosive celebration, 3 losses and you're out, and basically it's very simple. Firecrackers will spawn on both sides of the arena. You could of course build a deck around that to completely counter the Firecracker, absolutely dominate opponents, get some wins. As you see, there's some good rewards in this challenge, so you're going to want to play through, you're going to want to dominate, and today we're on the developer build so we can show you exactly what's going on before the challenge is even out, and then as soon as the challenge comes out we can post this for you guys, show you exactly what's good. So getting straight into the deck, we started off with just fireball bait because it has the arrows. You have this, you have the fireball, and then we made the change of adding the mirror in because mirroring the arrows is actually very powerful. And then you also still have the Royal Recruits, the Royal Hogs, the Flying Machine, and the Zappies, just putting constant work on defense. Defensively, of course, they're going to be really good answers. And then whenever you can, you're going to have arrows to arrows down the Firecrackers, and then you'll have, of course, your own Firecrackers spawning in order to help out your own pushes as well. So we got 3 example battles to show you guys. Battle number 1 is going to be the version where we had the Barbarian barrel in instead of the arrows. Now we ended up swapping in instead of the mirror. We ended up swapping in the mirror, like I said, but this is still a good example of the deck being pretty strong. Now, obviously with Firecrackers, something to take into account is that they're going to give your opponent King Tower activation, obviously, right? So obviously you do want to leave a couple Firecrackers alive in order to get the King Tower activation, but other than that, the arrows are going to be really good at taking them down. You can also yeah, see, I wouldn't use Hog Rider in this challenge because once the King Tower is activated, of course, the King Tower will absolutely shred, and that's where Fireball Bait is super effective because you can get just such overwhelming pushes, especially with the arrows in your deck. They just go crazy. So in terms of the playstyle with this deck, however, it's going to be a little bit defensive until Double Elixir, which will happen at 2-minute mark. So Double Elixir will hit sooner in these matches. So that's why, you know, Fireball Bait's even a better example or a better option to use in this challenge because, I mean, you're going to be getting Double Elixir so quick. The mirror, it's just going to make things absolutely crazy. And as you see here, we placed the Royal Hogs in order to distract the Dark Prince. That was pretty awesome. We get a little bit of chip damage, and we also hold up the opponent here. And now Double Elixir's already hit, which is awesome for us once again because we can kind of just sack this bandit damage, especially since we have the King Tower. Then we can just go in with a Goblin Brawler and start building up our first massive push. Now the opponent here, keep in mind, he has Firecrackers obviously because of the Firecracker. He also has Poison Spell, which can be very good against Fireball Bait. So it's going to be interesting to see, right? How can our deck do against all of this splash? Well, look, we have our first push coming up. We go ahead, Fireball the Knight. We also hit the Fireball with that, we hit the Hog Rider with the Fireball as well. We're able to Zappies the middle. We're able to just see our Firecrackers spawning in from the back. We are now going to be getting ready to go for just a Flying Machine over top because the value that these Flying Machines get, guys, they're fantastic. Firecrackers on the left are unfortunately getting a lot of value, but we're going to ignore them and then go in with our arrows on the right side because as you see, the Firecrackers putting in a lot of value. We're able to get a ton of damage over there, and we're catching up big time because we obviously didn't play the best defense. We took a lot of damage to that bandit, but honestly, no big deal with this deck. You have to know, you know, play safe, and in Double Elixir, you really are going to have the upper hand in your opponent. So let's see. As you see, Goblin Bar moving in on the right side, it's going to get a hit. The Ice Wizard was not enough, so that's big damage. We actually gain the lead on that right side tower. We once again have Royal Recruits coming up in the back. You do have to be careful that you do not place the Royal Recruits in front of the Firecrackers right in front of your tower because they will obviously splash onto your tower and do a bunch of damage. But right here's a great example of just the Flying Machine, the Royal Recruits, the Firecrackers, the Royal Hogs. It's all just way too much for most decks to handle. I haven't faced a deck yet to where it was a problem. As you saw, we're 4-0, absolutely crushing it here. And the Firecrackers, they're just overwhelming this opponent right now. We're going to speed this one up here because we are dominating. There's just nothing that he's going to be able to do. We're able to play good defense, and if we wanted to, we could have taken the left side tower as well, but as you see, really no need. And now the next 2 battles, we're going to have the mirror version, which is by far the strongest version. That is the version I'm going to be having linked down below in the description, so be sure to use the mirror in the next match here. You're going to see why the mirror is so good because you're going to be able to, of course, use the arrows a lot more. You're also going to be able to mirror Royal Hogs, which mirrored Royal Hogs, mirrored Royal Recruits, mirrored Flying Machines. I mean, these things are all going to go nuts. They always get a lot of value, and this is, I believe, the closest match we had. But there's a lot of reasons for that, right? They had the Golden Knight, they had the Spawner, they had the Wizard, and they just had a lot of good splash damage against us here. So actually, maybe this wasn't the closest one. I think I'm thinking of the wrong battle, but either way, we have the Goblin Brawler come down for the Slumberjack. As you see, we're going to get a nice Fireball down on top of this Firecracker and Goblin Hut as soon as it breaks. Beautiful Fireball. We take out a Goblin and the Firecracker. We see the Firecracker come over to the left and help us out with those Spear Goblins and Archer. Pretty awesome stuff there. We see the minions come down for the opponent, and luckily our Firecracker is able to tag up that Firecracker on the right. We're going to see our Flying Machine come down to help us out on defense. We also have a little bit of a weird starting hand here, but look at this move. We're going to go in with Royal Hogs right as the opponent goes in for the King Tower activation, so that timing there was wonderful for us. We're able to get the Flying Machine and Royal Hogs on tower, and this will, of course, do tons of damage. So the Flying Machine's tanking for the Wizard. The Royal Hogs are just eating away that entire tower, and we're able to take the entire tower right as Double Elixir is hitting, which is fantastic for us, of course, because we once again, I mean, this deck only gets better in Double Elixir. This match specifically, I did not play Double Elixir very smart. I was a little bit over aggressive. I should have focused more on defense instead of going with constant fireballs, constant, no Royal Hogs. I should have just focused on defense here and made sure that we could defend, because, I mean, once you have the tower up in the challenge like this, it should be pretty easy to defend, especially with Firecrackers going everywhere on your side of the arena. So as you see here, we're going to go with Royal Recruits in the back, I believe. Yeah, and see, this was just not an ideal move in my opinion, because we're taking hits from the Firecrackers for no reason. We see a Wizard coming up. I think the Royal Recruits were definitely a bad play, but honestly, you know what, it happens. You always got to learn and go on from there. So luckily we don't take too much damage. We're able to take everything out, but as you see, we're going to get the arrows. We have the mirror ready to go, so we're going to be able to constantly arrows out those Firecrackers, which is awesome for us. We get the King Tower activation finally. That's another thing with this match. I didn't get King Tower activation early enough, and right here, once again, another sloppy play. The Zappies, they're not going to stop the Lumberjacks. We're taking hits left and right, and at this point in the match, I'm like, well, maybe now we're actually going to need to take this left side tower. And I knew they only had the Fireball, so I figured, you know what, let's just really start playing some defense here. There's only about 40 seconds left. Hopefully we can just not let any more damage come through, and then maybe we could take it out. Maybe we can just walk away with a nice 1 crown win. You never know. We're gonna, of course, just try and play defense at this point. And there's the mirrored Goblin Brawler coming down. We go in with the arrows, and that will just luckily destroy everything there. The right side, we have a little bit of pressure going out with the Firecrackers, which is nice. The Firecracker shoots and does some work. We see the Fireball coming in, and I saw, since we still had at least 2 more Fireballs needed in order to take us out, as long as we play some defense, we were in great shape. We see the Golden Knight come down, but luckily for us, these Goblin Brawlers are not going to let anything through. As you see, 1 second left, we get the second win. Awesome battle on the day. So let's go ahead, hop into our final replay of the day that we'll show you guys, and this one was a really fun one actually, because as you see, they have the Giant Skeleton, they have the Executioner NATO, so they have a lot of really effective answers actually to our deck. However, as you saw, I mean, we're undefeated. We're going to be able to get the win, and watch how we do so. It's a really close game. The Phoenix is also, can be pretty good. And the Cannon Cart can be really good as well. So check out how we do it here. Single elixir. We're going to go in for a nice fireball to start the match off, because we're just playing defense. We're not really planning on making any crazy moves. We just want to survive until double elixir, until that 2-minute mark, and then we will be good to go. So we see the Executioner. I'm starting to get a little bit worried here, because obviously Executioner, it can be very good. And as soon as I saw the Cannon Card, I actually decided to go in with some Zappies and the Goblin Cage. Unfortunately for us right here, the Tornado really did a lot of damage, guys. The Executioner did a lot of damage. It wasn't the cleanest defense. We decided to arrows. We take everything out, and we are a little bit lower on elixir when compared to the opponent. The opponent gets King Tower activation, so in the first minute of this match, it's really not in our favor in any way. We don't have King Tower activation. We took a little bit more damage than we should have, but hey, we've made it to double elixir with at least most of our tower's HP, so that is looking good. We're going to try and maintain this momentum now. We're going to try and shift the momentum of the match, see if we can get something going here. We're going to go in for a Flying Machine, I believe. Oh no, we could decide to go in for the Mirrored Royal Recruits in the back, level 12. And the reason why we do this is because our Firecracker's actually getting crazy value there in the middle. And seeing that, we're going to be able to now take out a bunch of these other Firecrackers with the other Firecracker. That Firecracker value was insane. We're also now seeing the Archer Queen go down before the ability comes out. The Phoenix goes down. We decide to arrows. We catch an Electro Spirit. We did not really need to arrows that stuff, but we did it anyways. Another Phoenix comes down already, but luckily for us, that little counter push applied so much pressure to where the opponent was lower on elixir than us, and we were able to do good damage to both towers. I mean, all of a sudden, right, this deck's power starting to come through. As you see, we get the King Tower activation, which is awesome for us. The Flying Machine comes down. We're going to be able to take out that Executioner, and now all of a sudden, things are looking up a little bit here. The flying machine goes down, unfortunately, but the giant skeleton comes down. We're going to be able to go in for our royal recruits. Firecracker, luckily, will go down here once these royal recruits get to it. And all of this stuff coming in, we're going to be able to take it out with some arrows. Check out these mirrored arrows. Just going to go crazy on the left side, guys. We take it all out. Even the Phoenix pretty much going down because now our tower is just going to be able to take that out nice and easy. Right here, we go in with our royal hogs. We also get ready to fireball those firecrackers on the right. And luckily, we were able to hit them. And as you see, that left side, it's going to take a lot of damage. Just because the Royal Hogs are such a good win condition right now, the opponent has to struggle to get down that giant skeleton. We go into the flying machine just to get constant value over here. We also now have the arrows ready to go on the firecracker, and because you have the arrows, the mirror, and the fireball, you're constantly going to be having great answers to those firecrackers while doing tower damage. It's fantastic. As you see, Goblin Brawler moving up on this Executioner. The firecrackers are going to take out a little bit of that Phoenix's HP. We're going to be able to go in with a fireball on those firecrackers to the right side tower, and as you see, once again, we're just constantly being able to easily defend. We have plenty of elixir. The firecrackers are applying pressure and helping us defend. It's looking real solid. All we have to do is going with a bunch of stuff here. Now, right here, this was a little crazy. I went in with 8 Royal Hogs on the right side tower. The Executioner NATO is, of course, going to do a lot of damage taking those out. But look, it made him spend a lot of elixir. Once again, we have way more elixir than the opponent now. Flying Machine nearly gets on tower. The opponent's panicking. The Firecrackers are coming in massive numbers right now. And as you see, we go in with our Goblin Cage. We see the Executioner putting in some work. Luckily for us, the Phoenix will go down. And as you see, once again, the Goblin Bar is moving into the right, so we just have more pressure coming out. Unfortunately for us, or I mean, unfortunately for the opponent, we're able to now go in with double Royal Hog split. We toss out the GGs because I did not think that the opponent would be able to defend this. And boy, was I right. There was really just too much damage coming through. As you see, that right side tower is taking massive hits. The Firecracker nearly shoots it. Would have been game. Either way, we could just cycle to one more set of arrows, and that will be GGs. I decided to go with just a bunch of zappies in the middle because that would look cool, and that is going to be game over. Easy match. Really good game. To just show you guys how good this deck can be. It's a control deck, so don't be going overly aggressive. Of course, you want to make sure you play some defense before going in, but this deck should work great for you guys in the challenge. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It's going to be linked down below in the description if you'd like to copy it and just try it out. But thanks so much for watching once again. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Master Diddy-san.